Hello everyone, and welcome to Maxim's Bakery and Restaurant here in Chinatown, Vancouver, and welcome to my latest episode of Chinatown Confessions. Today we'll be talking about a few things, some things kind of boring, which is microphones. Check this out. Am I using what's happening here? We'll talk about it in a second. Here I have the Leica M11D with the 28 Summicron V. You guys let me know which one. The V3 with the pop-out lens hood, but this is actually slightly kind of a matte minty green, and so super cool camera here. I just did an unbox the box video, but also an unboxing video. And now we're going to be talking about the M-D a little bit in this video here as well. Again, if you can only see, I'll put in an insert here of what's in front of me, but I have the Deluxe 8 and M7, the M11D, X-Pro 3, M9P, M4, and the original SL Type 601. Let's talk about audio. Now, I've been getting a lot of flack for holding the little DJI microphone, and so I thought I would use this, but if you notice, it's still the DJI microphone, but I put it inside this Rode microphone. So does this look more professional? I think it does, but some people still don't like me holding things. The audio is more isolated. Maxim's today isn't overly busy, so it's not horrible, but I also have, if you noticed, a lavalier. Now I didn't realize that the little fuzzy wuzzy, where did I have it? I didn't realize that there is that little hole. I thought it was just a plug to hold this in place, but actually it is a proper microphone input. And so I'm gonna now switch over to my lavalier. So let's just see. I might have to turn it off first. Let's just see here. There you go. Now I think my lavalier, I can see it peaking red. So I think now my lavalier is working. And this is what I've always wanted to do, is to properly set up my lavalier. And so how does this sound, guys? So let me know in the comments, do you prefer me kind of holding it and isolating the audio like this? This is really the best way to really isolate. The next best way is using a proper lavalier here, and this is the Rode Lavalier Pro. So this is like I'm even kind of holding this like I need to. I don't need to hold it. The lavalier right here, it is still not like a high-end lavalier, but it's pretty darn good. And so I think this is better. So it frees up both my hands, so I can, for instance, hold two cameras that I wanted to share with you, which is the Fujifilm X-Pro 3 and the Leica M. This is the M11D, but any of the D series, I love not having the screen there. Not just like you can just turn off your screen. Well, I can throw this in my camera bag. I can throw this in a camera bag. And sure, you can scratch up the back, but you don't have to worry about cracking the screen. And so having this hidden pretty much forces me, when I have the X-Pro 3, I just pretty much exclusively use the EVF. Actually, I'm always in OVF mode with the little mini EVF in the corner, but I can just easily, by pushing the toggle here, you can just turn off the little mini EVF and push it again. It returns. If you're trying to check white balance, you're trying to check film simulation, you're trying to check focus, like critical focus, I can just push this way, or if you pull it, it goes completely into EVF mode here. But I'm rarely in EVF mode on my X-Pro 3. I love seeing outside the frame lines, especially when I'm shooting with the 35-1.4. It just feels like I'm shooting with a real rangefinder as things can enter into the frame. But anyways, X-Pro 3 is a fantastic camera. But again, the whole point of it was my hands are free now, right? I can show two cameras at once when I have a lavalier. So let me know in the comments, which do you prefer? I think if this sounds good enough, like 80% of what I can do versus holding like this, other than maybe if I'm with a guest, again, mind you, with this DJI, I can't just buy a second one of these, right? And I can lav up my guest. But with the guest, maybe it's good to kind of do this, perhaps, maybe. But anyways, for now, for this video, we're gonna do it this way. So that's the boring part. So let's talk about the fun part. M11D. Putting the ISO in the back versus having on the top here, I like the smoothness here. I like not having the ISO I like having the ISO in the back because it reminds me of my M7. See, my M7 it's a DX encoded, so you put film in here, it knows what film speed is in here, and when you have press, when you turn it on, you can see the ISO that you've set, either by DX encoding, or you can manually set the ISO this way. You can push or pull, or if the film doesn't have DX encoding, you can just kind of manually set the ISO what you want. Plus you have third stops exposure compensation on the M7, and that's what this reminds me here. I can do all that in the back here, so I think that's a really great design. And the M11D is really light. I just had Chris from Chris Meets Chris, and he had his M10D. Now the M10D is basically Leica making a D camera to make it look and feel a lot like a film camera. Well, the M11D is like no apologies. It's not trying to look like a film camera. It's trying to look like the most essential, the most basic digital camera. And myself and JJ had a little bit of a, I wouldn't say debate, but he was happy that they use aluminum because it keeps it light. And it's true, on the MD, on the M11D, without a screen and with just the aluminum top plate, no bottom plate, this camera is light. It's almost as, I mean, it depends on what lens you have in there, but is it almost as light as my X-Pro 3? I'll do a weigh-in at some point, but it pretty much feels about the same weight. The Leica still feels more solid because it's slightly smaller, even though it's full frame, but no autofocus, no EVF. But it's just the design is nice, and it's a more dense camera. So M11D is awesome, and with this 28 Summicron V3, I think it's V3, because I think V2 has the metal threaded, right? The metal threaded hood. V1 that I have is the big chunky ugly plastic one. V2 is the nice metal one, and then I think V3 is this one here, and then the newest one has the built-in helicoid in the back, and you can get really close focus. But this is a beautiful lens, and this is kind of how I would shoot these two. On the X-Pro 3, because I'm not a 50 shooter, this is a 35-1.4, so it's like a 53 mil equivalent. I'm not used to seeing things 15 feet away and then be able to quickly pull the camera up to my eye and shoot. And I'll embed a photo where I took a picture of a fellow coming out, a delivery fella coming out of a butcher shop, and tack sharp focus because of autofocus. Now I could have got that same shot with a Leica M manually focusing, but I would have had to have already been standing there pre-focused and ready for the shot. Well, I wasn't ready for the shot, and that's where something like an X-Pro 3 with autofocus, it gives me similar feels as an M, but it's not the same feeling. It's like having a Miata and some other convertible, I don't know, name me another convertible, like an Alfa Romeo Spider. Similar but different, right? European sensibilities, European design, German industrial construction, and then you have a Japanese tech brand, one of the most illustrious of the Japanese brands in terms of making really cool, unique cameras, but still Japanese. And you know, I'm Japanese, so I love Japanese cameras. I also love German-made cameras. I would definitely keep both these for very different reasons. So Francisco, another one of my followers, did let me do the unboxing of his M11D, so I have to return that back to him. But at some point, I'm sure he'll let me borrow it again. But until then, I have Chris's M10D, and I do have my X-Pro 3, and so I'm gonna still, I mean, I have so many cameras to play with here. I still have JJ's M9P, which I'm having a lot of fun shooting with. This is the Light Lens Lab 28mm, the 9 element, which is based on Leica's first 28 Elmert lens. And someone teased me and says I'm saying it wrong. I don't know, maybe it's my Japanese Canadian accent, but Elmert, how would you say it? Elmert, yeah, Elmert. Well, we're both Asian. We both maybe have a slight Asian accent. But anyway, so 28 Elmert. I love this lens. Stop down to f4 to f, especially 5.6. It's not dissimilar to my 28 Summicron. But that's the whole point of any lens, right? It's fun to shoot with it wide open because that's where it has the most flaws, but the flaws are also character. I love my 28 Summicron wide open because it has so much vignetting, and because it's a little bit less contrasty, and because it's a little bit less sharp. It has this kind of a glowy look to it that I love at f2, but by the time it's f5.6, then that Summicron looks like, I mean, it is aspherical, so a lot of the chromatic aberration and other things are corrected for, but wide open is where the character is. And same with this 28 light lens lab. A lot of the character is at 2.8, but they did do, I did a video on this lens, so you can check out that video. I'll put links down below, but this acts kind of like a vintage lens, but as well as a modern lens. So on the M9, I've been shooting with the 40mm M Rocore, which is also a vintage lens, and then with this 28mm Elmerit 9 element, so it's not even an Elmerit, sorry, the Light Lens Lab 28 9 element, as it matches well with this vintage digital with the Kodak built sensor that's kind of mimicking that look of Kodacolor or Kodachrome, and so I'm enjoying this combination here. I do have my M4 with the collapsible Elmar M. So this is the reissue. This isn't the original Elmar, but because it's more modern, I say modern meaning this is probably like mid-90s lens. It does have the modern coatings, and I think this is still 4 element. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 4 element, but with modern construction and modern design. And just, I'm gonna take off my shirt here. So I hope the lavalier is gonna still work. I'm undressing here at Maxim. I've done this before. If you watched all my videos, you know. But I did show off this t-shirt. Thank you, Carol, for sending this to me. One more button. Bada bang. There you go. So this is my Elmar designed. Hello, testing, testing. This is my Elmar t-shirt, the Leica Elmar t-shirt. So I love this. This is my favorite t-shirt. I feel like Superman when I show you because I have to take it, I have to kind of open it up like this. Awesome t-shirt. When I have this on and then I have this, I feel like a superhero. And so let's just put this back on again. All right, fully clothed. Another camera here, it is the original SL. This is the SL Type 601. This is when Leica was 601. Yeah, Leica was calling everything type, the Deluxe Type 109, the Leica M Type 240. Actually, you know, we call it the M240. That's actually incorrect. It was Leica M Type 240. So it was the time when they were saying type, they actually, I have it on interview, someone said it. They kind of admitted it was confusing. I think it was Stefan Daniels. So it was confusing. They got rid of the type thing. It's very German to do that. Look at like the Mercedes-Benz, the naming of their cars, and even BMW with the M3, you know, like E30 something, like, you know, they have these weird names, and so it's very German. They got rid of it because these are global products. But the 601, I remember when it first came out, a lot of people made fun of this camera. I mean, look at this camera here. You have these 4 buttons, but there's long press versions. There's actually 8 buttons. Long press, I'm actually sad that they got rid of this system, but they said some people got confused. So I still think this is great. It has a built-in GPS here, so it has to be a little kind of a plastic module outside of the solid block of aluminum. And this is the time when Leica was just fascinated by solid block aluminum. Remember the original Leica T? There's a video out where it's like 30 minutes of a person just sanding and preparing the Leica T solid body Audi designed camera, and this is a solid block of aluminum. So these are just really vintage classic cameras like the M9 here, but I think for bang for your buck, if you want to get into Leica and you want to get into especially L mount, but with the L mount, as you can see, you can put M mount lenses on here. You can't beat the SL Type 601. It's 24 megapixels. It was a high resolution. It still is. It's a very high resolution EVF. So for modern use, this camera is still good. 24 megapixels. So up to the Leica M10P, you still had 24 megapixels. So this doesn't feel dated at all, and it's just built like a tank. It still has it's a different battery, but it was one of the first ones. I think the Leica T was the first to have this kind of this little switch quick battery change system, but this has it here as well. So Type 601, you can pick them up for probably under $2,000 US. I've seen them as low as maybe $1,300, $1,400 based on kind of the condition, but you can definitely Pat Domingo this thing. You can definitely, it'll just bring it right down to the aluminum and it'll look beautiful. Anyways, I think that's about it. It's already kind of a long Chinatown Confessions. How long has this been going for? 16 minutes, kind of long. Just quickly, I wanted to show you, this is the Easy Pack Wotancraft backpack, and I did put the new modules, the smaller little cute modules in here. So I have a battery pack in here, and what do I have in here? Change pouch, and like little things I want to quickly access from the outside, but I think it looks great on the Easy Pack backpack. Oh, and I also brought something else here. I was going to show this to JJ, but this is my Sharky. I'm not even going to explain it. Sharky, just look it up, made by Cold Steel. Here you go, JJ can play with it. And that's it. Again, let me know, guys, if you, about the audio. I think this is the way to go, right? I think it's isolated good enough. And just as a quick reminder, don't forget, I have my COOPH rope strap here. I still have a few of them on hand to sell. They look like this. And that's a very small way you can support a brand like me. I have links down below. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll talk to you soon. And happy shooting. Click, click, click. Peace.